Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Suzuka. Welcome to the Raceface.Pro GT3 Championship out on a Assetto Corsa Competizione and round 4 of our championship at a beautiful Suzuka. It's all about challenging our drivers to see who's going to get to the top, who's going to be able to make the victories, who is going to win around the legendary Suzuka. First corner is going to be always a difficult one. Many of the drivers very concerned about the double right-hander before you head into the S-curves. Through Dunlop, the long left-hander gets you all geared up as you aim for Degner 1 and Degner 2, where we see most of our track limits being exceeded. Charging up to the hairpin, side by side, is going to be a rough time for many drivers as they come out of the hairpin, heading towards Spoon Curve. Hopefully the tires hold out long enough, as we will see off tracks coming through on the long left-hander coming out of Spoon Curve down the main straight before you gear yourself up to the 130R, ending out at the Casio Triangle, most commonly known for the championship decider between Ayrton Senna and Prost. Who remembers that Formula 1? But a massive welcome to you all. Glad to have you here for round 4 of the championship. Proudly sponsored by Rhino Utility, Simulator Cave, along with SBR and Virtual Motorheads. And take a look at our virtual grandstands. Everyone ready to have some fun. The Stingers Racing, Crazy Stunts, all joining in as we go down to our grid. And you can already see the time starting to fall as our qualifying session is underway as we onboard with Kerry Duplessis. But it is rain conditions for many of our drivers, and this means it's in for a difficult time through it all. And we're looking forward to seeing how the drivers are going to be able to work their way around the circuit. A 2:14.3 was set by our leader of Gerrit Bukes, who's looking to put himself at the top of the order for the Stingers Racing team. Constantly been fighting it out. And then you got Jason Farmer running in third place at the moment, as Henry Mayer looks to have put himself up towards second, and Vian Putter putting in a 2:13.1. So time starting to change, drivers starting to move forward, and lots to talk about as we head into this championship. Now, that being said, we're in for a rather exciting time, as drivers have not been experiencing wet conditions other than Silverstone, and that left many guessing what they can do. Jaco Kutzer puts himself up to first place, running in the Omnius Gaming, new driver to the Omnius Gaming team, and hoping to really put an impact here. He's got Vian Putter, who has been a pretty quick Pro-Am driver and has been fighting in the top 10 every single time. So keep an eye on him, running first of our Pro-Ams, but currently second overall, as we do see that look to be Kruger running off circuit. Henry Mayer running in third, along with Gerrit Bukes in fourth. Jason Farmer for the Griffin Sim Racing team running in fifth. He's coming off the back of running LMU earlier this week on a Wednesday, going and switching out from Circuit Le South into the Ferrari and having a great race around there. So he's looking to try and improve and make his way through the front. Leon Swan running in 6th place. Daniel van der Venter running in 7th place. Kerry Duplessis. Benjamin Till a little bit further down and running in 9th. And Orihite Motsakwali is running in 11th, as we do have a change up. Jean Verveer is moving his way up through the order. Good to see that our drivers starting to get to grips with the conditions, and you can see many of the cars diving off into the dirt, trying to find the breaking point. Now, these conditions are treacherous, and let it be known that drivers are going to have to really run on that razor's edge to ensure they can stay in for the fight. Wet weather tires going to be really utilized here. TC all the way up, ABS all the way up, and drivers having to figure out what's going to work for them. Henry Mayer leads out the pack for the Pandacity team. He will have to keep going. 0.090 going to be the front-running pack. Fleming Bauer getting turned round, trying to get a little bit more pace, and this was into Degner 1. Couldn't quite carry the momentum through. Quan Duplessis, good to have him back, He's in the K-Pax Racing team, looking to charge their way up through the order. Mr. Duplessis has been racing overseas, and it's nice to have him back racing with us in the Pro division. So, as drivers trying to figure out what do they need to do in these very, very difficult times, and here at a very wet Suzuka, 30 cars line up tonight, and just to add a little bit of spice to everyone's flavor, well, we had the servers down earlier on, so the drivers were battling to get into the servers. That was because it was down on the Kunos side. That made life a little bit more interesting for everyone to try and get themselves sorted. There was a plan made to try and get servers in a different way. Suddenly, the servers came back online literally 5 minutes ago. So good to have our servers back. A big shout out to Kunos. Thanks for giving us hard failures. Ruben Heineke puts himself in first place in the Ferrari 296. The Griffin Sim Racing team now actually getting himself further up the order. Ruben Heineke has been fighting it out, leading out our Pro-Ams at the moment, but continues on the drive. So everyone still digging deep what they have to do. 5 minutes left of this qualifying session. Still plenty of time on the board. And drivers having to figure out what's going to be the running order for them. How they're going to move up through it all. Quick rundown of our championship standings. We're going to go through our top 10 of each class. For our pros, it's Henry Mayer in first place on 147 points. Brandon Kruger in second. Fleming Bauer in third. Ego Krobler in fourth. Followed by Henry Platt, Kurt Bucas, Daniel Fundaventa, Chris Collison, Orihite Matsuhile, along with Jason Farmer, rounding out our top 10 for our pros. Moving on to our Pro-Ams. And it is Ruben Heineke who leads out the charge on 104 points, tied with Jared Bakum. We've got Vian Putter running in third on 102 points. Werner Buschhoff running in fourth. Vessel Woda. David van Niekerk running in sixth. Kerry Duplessis, Jean Verveers, Hansi Meiberg in ninth, and Anton Lummers rounding out our top 10 in our Pro-Am division. Two divisions racing in one, and just to add a little bit more spice to it, we do have our Am and Golds that are racing in a separate server at the exact same time. Big shout out to them. We're looking forward to trying to get them more involved and hopefully get them out with broadcasts again. That's on the cards. It's going to be worked on. Trying to figure out the next how to do that. So hopefully we'll be able to get that all broadcasted to you all. Some great racing there. Right, moving on. Henry Mayer leading out the pack with a 2 minute 10.7. 0.7 of a second quicker than Putter, who leads out our Pro-Ams. Ruben Heineke running in third, second of the Pro-Ams. And then Jaco Kutzer running in fourth with Fleming Bauer in fifth. Our pros not enjoying the rain conditions at the moment, and it's starting to be shown as our Pro-Ams moving up through it all. We are getting reports, however, down from our virtual grandstands and out there in the pits. We got Jared Bakum going and sending in that he will not be on the grid tonight, but is going and supporting fellow Wolf team driver Bego Krobler, who will be in the car. And there is the Team Wolf going and getting a bit of support from his co-driver, well, his teammate that's not in. So Jared, do miss not having you around. It's unfortunate to have you there, but considering you've been one of the top drivers, that's a bit of a knock to the championship, but we're looking forward to having you back fighting out for that top position. Shout out to Antonio Gamble, Stingers Racing, Crazy Stunts, along with Stanton Augustus. Big shout out to you guys. Massive welcome. If you're just joining us for the very first time, a massive welcome to you all here at Raceface.Pro for the likes of round 4 here at Suzuka of our Assetto Corsa GT3 Championship. Duplessis, however, going to come across the line, may actually be the quickest car on the grid, and is with a 210.7. Going and jumping up, and take a look how close it is. 0.013 between himself and Henry Mayer. Now, Duplessis and Henry Mayer, former teammates, if I remember, going back a couple of years. Former rivals, even less years than that. They have battled it out to and fro. So it's good to see Duplessis now taking the fight to the likes of Henry Mayer. It is going to be close, however, because with a 210, there's only 2 drivers that have been able to set that, and that is the likes of Mayer and Duplessis. Everyone else from 3rd place all the way down to 4th, all running on those 211s. From there, it's down into the 212s, all the way from the likes of 8th place to the likes of 16th. Beyond that, it's down to the 213s. A couple of drivers, however, haven't put a time on the board. Reginald Muttaleni is one driver that hasn't been put on the board, along with Henk Pedersen. Hasn't put a time on the board due to an off-track. Tyler Humphries, Rick Thomas, and Terence Ferreira. Due to off-tracks, we've seen drivers put in times, but they weren't able to get it counted. And that's going to take them out of the running. Tyler Humphries racing under the Angry Racing team. And that is a real-life racing team that does a majority of karting. They are involved in a variety of others. Rick Thomas visiting the barrier and checking if there's a bit of bamboo on the side for the Panda Racing team, the Panda City team. Terence Ferreira avoiding his brother, Wayne Ferreira, that's been duking him out in overseas. Well, gets a tank slapper with the Ford Mustang as he tries to put the hammer down, really pushing hard for the Player One Racing. Out at top, however, leading out and looking to be the fastest car yet again on the circuit. Duplessis up in all three sectors, down into the final corner, 0.3 up. This is possibly going to be a 210.5 and possibly lower if he can get the drive to work out with him here. 204, 205, and across the line. What is it going to be? A 210.4. Once again, opening the gap over the likes of Henry Mayer and Fleming Bauer, who are trying everything they can to move forward. Jaco Kutzer, at the moment, going up on his lap time. 0.1, he's actually 1 second ahead as Jason Farmer, Ruben Heineke come across the line. Vian Putter comes across the line. They will not be moving up in their orders. Bago Krobler, 0.13 up on his time. Launches himself up into third place. The Team Wolf driver going to be happy with that one. And a very, very late climb up through the ladder. Jaco Kutzer, however, is going to really go and put the hammer down. We do have Tianis Burta out there in the virtual grandstands. You can see him with these beautiful, beautiful yellow rain jackets. And standing there, good to see you, Tianis. Don't think anyone can miss you with your yellow rain jacket. But don't worry. I know there's a couple of others that are wearing pink. Can't go bad with pink. Jaco Kutzer currently 0.1 up on his time. Gerrit Bukes currently 0.4 up on his personal best. Richard Muttaleni, unfortunately, going off circuit. He was 0.6 up. And Henry Platt is 1.3 seconds up on his personal best. So we're going to see some changes here. Fafier's going to be the first one to come across. Is this going to be an improvement? 0.3 up on his personal best. Got to carry the momentum in the Ferrari 296. Comes across for the Trail Bullets team and puts himself with 0.2 up on his personal best, up into 8th place. Big jump for him. Tyler Humphries, unfortunately, no gain of position for him. Gerrit Bukes next across the line, 0.8 up on his personal best. So it's going to be a good one to get him into the top 10 and will jump up into 8th place, going and knocking Werner Buschhoff down out of the top 10. Last one to come across is going to be Henry Platt, unfortunately. Moves off line, and that is him going out for qualifying. So with all our drivers now waiting to get going, waiting and chomping at the bit to be here, this is going to be a proper race and a half. And we're really looking forward to seeing how it's all going to happen, who's going to move forward, and what is going to be the game plan. Many of the drivers have been concerned with the weather as it's been a little bit of a treacherous conditions, but others have been taking it with a stride. Mixed conditions, mixed bag, not quite sure if it's going to pour down with rain or get better. Drivers are going to start to figure out what they need to do. An hour and 20 minutes worth of racing here and all to play for at the beautiful Suzuka. And it is going to have 2 mandatory pit stops that the drivers are going to have to deal with. That's also going to change the way the entire race comes together. But that being said, it is going to be a proper race and a half. I see Tianis Broder needs to be a supporter tonight. No fiber, unfortunately. That would count as mechanical failure. Heartbreak to see you not on the grid, but still fantastic to have you out in the virtual grandstands, showing in the support. Major driver that constantly has been racing. I think Tianis Broder has been one of the longest running drivers here in the Sette Corsa Competizione, starting out when it was still in the single digits, if I remember correctly. But one of the longest names I've known along with Johan Bego Grobler. I see Ruan van der Walt also not going to be too happy on this one, and will be missing out the race. Van der Walt, also incredible driver. Sad to see that you got your head down. I'm guessing not going to be in for tonight, missing out. That being said, however, let's go and jump down to the grid as we get ready to kick off our round 4 here at Suzuka. And my oh my, do my eyes deceive me? Well, this is more to be said. It is looking rather dry. We may have a bit of rain coming later. Track is 25 degrees and bright and sunny. So this is still going to be an interesting fight. So let's see how it's going to all end up. But dry conditions, qualified in the wet, this is going to change things up. And Tianas Buerta, yep, season 5. Do you know you've been racing in a Assetto Corsa Competizione longer than I've been commentating here in esports overall? Like, that's crazy to think about, actually. Wow. We're moving on in age, buddy. We're moving on in age. But that being said, we are moving on with some incredible racing as drivers start to leave the grid in dry conditions, and the teams will be getting to fight it out. Lots of support coming in for the Pandacity and the Griffin Sim Racing team, and also to mention Jason Farmer, because we have to also talk about that. Stingers Racing getting a whole lot of support out on the embankments as well. So good to see you guys out there having a bit of fun, but we're looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. We're going to go through the grid, however, and give us a bit of a sense of what is happening, who is who, and where everyone is going to start for round 4 of the Raceface.Pro GT3 Championship. Taking a look over to first place, it is Juan Duplessis along with Henry Mayer, Bego Grobler running in third. He's actually stopped out on circuit. Fleming Bauer in fourth place, Vian Putter in fifth, followed by Ruan Hanneke, Jason Farmer, Gerrit Bukes, Jean Verveers, Jaco Kutzer, Werner Buschhoff, Chris Collison, David van Veek, Tyler Humphries, Vessel Woda, Jackie Alberts, Oriete Motsahile, Daniel van der Vente, Gerry Duplessis, Leon Swan, along with Sean Larrera, Reginald Mutilani, Gerald Pretorius, Lucan Haynes, Henry Platt, Benjamin Till, all the way from Ireland, followed by Hansi Myberg, Rick Thomas, Terence Ferreira, rounding out the pack as we do have one retirement out of the field, making it down to 29 cars that will be kicking off the grid, and 2 cars starting from pit lane. Bego Grobler and Jaco Kutzer will be starting in pit lane this time round. Duplessis and Mayer will be leading out the pack. Whatever you see in the red, that is our pro drivers. In silver is our pro-am. 2 mandatory pit stops have to be served during the course of this race, where you have to put at least 1 liter in the car and parked squarely in the pit box to be counted as a pit stop. Now, that sounds easier. It sounds like you can do it in your sleep. Well, let that be said. Try do it while you're in intense competition where it's an all-out fight here at Raceface.Pro. Prizes on the line as well this season. A massive, massive shout out to Virtual Motorheads, SBR, Simulator Cave, and Rhino Utility for being part of it. The end of year prize, an entire rig worth 16,000 Rand, aluminium extrusion given by the likes of Simulator Cave, will be handed out across both divisions. So it doesn't matter where you finish now, it's all about your consistency from now till the end of the year to be put in that giveaway for the Simulator Cave. 16,000 Rand, an aluminium extrusion rig. I have tried to get hold of the rig for my own testing purposes to verify it's all good. But no, I've been told to stay right away from that one. So instead, we're going to give it out to you guys, and we're looking forward to seeing how it all goes. Also, this season, both the Pro-Am, Gold, and Silver will have trophies going out to them, also sponsored by our amazing sponsors here. So we will have trophies that you can at least put on your pedestals as well. So if you got into the top 3, you got something to show and hold it like they do in real life racing. For those that can go for it, go for it. Those that want to go for it, keep going for it, as it's in iRacing, ACC, and LMU. But we're about to go light screen for round 4, and it is up to Duplessis and Mayer to kick off in the first row. Duplessis bringing the pace down, waiting for the opportunity. Lights on, lights on, lights on, and lights off. We will be going racing any time now. Could they go any slower? Come on, let's just go racing. 29 cars, 1 hour and 20 minutes of racing, and we're away for round 4. And it is a great jump off the line for Duplessis to hold back Mayer into turn 1, but Mayer sweeps across the nose, gets it locked in for first place. Great run for him. Fleming Bauer got called out on the start, and Ruin Heineke joining in for the fact. It is going to be a monster chase for all, side by side, as it's Eric Bukes getting moved out of the way by Jason Farmer, who's around the outside of Ian Putter. He does lock in the position a little bit further back. Tyler Humphreys gaining a position over Werner Buschhoff as he continues on the drive, locking down that inside line, not backing down from the fight. Rubbing is racing, going through the field. Not many off tracks, however, and that's fantastic. Many of the drivers just taking it rather cautiously at the moment. Claire Bukes moves up over Vian Putter, will continue on the drive. Vian slipping down the field as our top 5 start to open the gap to one another. Duplessis just running in line. It is Vian Putter defending, goes out a little bit wide, loses his drive, and that looks like Tyler Humphreys got moved out of the way by the likes of... that would be Chris Collison that gave him that little tap in the rear. Just moves him slightly offline. Humphreys is able to come back. Quick flash of lights as Humphreys aims to get past the likes of Werner Buschhoff. Goes around the outside, gets it locked in, gets a clean pass, and Chris Collison now stuck in behind. David van Veek along with Jackie Alberts, and right behind it is Daniel van Venter. Leon Swan as Vessel Woda getting a tank slapper on the exit. The Mercedes, the only Mercedes that is racing with us in the entire Pro and Pro-Am, is dropping down the order like a lead weight at the moment, getting hunted down by Motsohile, who continues to look up for the inside as they charge their way through into the Casio corner, and it is Vian Putter who gets it all out of shape, dropping down, and this created a further Constantina effect. Werner Buschhoff says thank you. Chris Collison now gets the drive as a drag race heading into turn 1, moves over. Vian, unable to defend, will now be locked to the outside as David van Veek up on the inside gets the pass done and dusted into the double right-hander. That has also opened it up for Jackie Alberts to get on by. Putter down the order yet again. Dan van Venter now has an opportunity in the Apex Titans Racing to put the hammer down to keep going, but the fight a little bit further back. It is Lucan Haynes trying to catch up to Motsohile. Henry Platt getting caught in as well as he tries to fight his way through. And just ahead, Vessel Woda not having an easy time out there. 4x4, 3x3, and that landed up with a whole lot of cars into the dirt. Mustangs getting sent all around, all over the show as we see Sean Loureiro going out wide. Vessel Woda runs him to the fringe of the circuit there. He does keep his foot in it. Terence Ferreira stuck on the outside. He lands up on the fringes, comes back right underneath. Tried to get the drive. Loureiro gets a fantastic corner exit onto Vessel Woda. Looking to the hairpin, couldn't quite get the pass done. Switches round. Motsohile going and watching the battle as there is, Terence Ferreira. Contact up against Vessel Woda. That's created a big one as Rick Thomas gets caught into it, along with Jaco Kutza and Harry Duplessis, as they got caught up in that monster train of an incident. 29 cars still going. It is still an outright chase. Rick Thomas trying to go back, and the rain starting to come down here at Suzuka. Just as he got settled on those dries, it's time to look at the putting onto wets. Drivers are going to keep an eye out now. They'll be focusing on what they need to do. Looking at the rooster tails, that is going to be the main tell. If you can start to see the rooster tail start kicking off the back of these cars, that's when you start moving on to wet weather tire. That's when you are not going to get any luck on these slicks, and you can't use slip angles, you can't use anything to generate heat. They start cooling down. So keep an eye out. The moment you see a rooster tail, ladies and gentlemen, that is the opportunity to move on to wet. But you've got to be able to pull that trigger either first or last to go and get the overlap or the undercut through the drivers. Now, this is going to create this interesting scenario for many of the drivers that switched over to more of a dry setup and less of a hybrid setup, and you'll start to see that drop-off starting to happen. Not now, but in 5 minutes' time, as the track gets wetter and wetter, and they can't attack the corners as Reginald Mutalini gets the pass on Viampata. Here comes Hansi Myberg looking around the outside. Now, Hansi has stipulated he has yet to do a lap in the wet, so this is going to be his first time experiencing a bit of rain downfall this season in Suzuka. He did manage to have it in the likes of Silverstone last week. Viampata, however, getting Terence Ferreira on the outside, and now Gerard Pretorius puts his nose in, trying to get on by as well, as it is a fight at the back. I've got to say, our rear running trains have been keeping into a great fight. Up top, however, Henry May has already opened a 3.5 second gap to Duplessis. 1 second back is Fleming Bauer trying to gain a little bit of time. Ruan Heineke just keeping him bay with Jason Farmer, his teammate, lurking around. The Team Sarko Griffin Sim Racing team, along with the Griffin Sim Racing Pro driver Jason Farmer, will just keep an eye on it. Jackie Albert's a little bit further back, has got a problem with the BMW. Daniel van der Venter, the Apex Titans, now onto the back of the Racing Snails. The Racing Snails not going to back down from this one and will continue the fight. We've got quite a varied one with the Racing Snails. They tend to do rather well in the wet. Jackie has always had an opportunity to do well in the wet. Lady Luck just hasn't been on his side for quite some time. Maybe this time round going to be a little bit different, and it continues to carry on. Just lying out of the top 10, lying in 12th position. Fight up towards the back. It is Gerard Pretorius keeping ahead of Ian Putter, losing yet another position, and Jaco Kotze now onto the back of him. Jaco Kotze really at the back of the Pro-Am field. First to dive into the pits, however. He did start in pit lane at the start of the race, along with Bego Krobler. Now, he is the first one to dive into the pits to get his first stop out of the way. Interesting scenario that may play into his favor. Obviously deciding that maybe just with the track getting a bit too wet, going to go out a little bit longer and see how it works. Henry Platt onto the back of Lucan Haynes, trying to push their way a little bit further up the order. Lucan not going and backing down, continues the fight and will continue to stay in the charge all the way through. Now, tough fight for the likes of Lucan with Henry Platt onto the back of him. And we do see a mistake. Jackie Albert into the wall. Jackie Albert, the number 25, getting it all out of shape through Degner 2. Let's take a look. There's the rooster tail starting to come up. Now the slicks will be at their worst. He runs out a bit wide into the off-track, runs out. Oh, just has the rear slip on him. And, massive impact into the wall. That is a Mustang that will be heading to the glue factory as he tries to limp the car back to the pit. Vesselwoda will see him right behind and try and keep an eye on him. Another yellow flag coming in for the 177 car and the 69. That 69 is actually the likes of Ruan Heineke. He was a bit further up the order. What on earth has gone on with him? This is heading to the 130R. Now, you can get a lot of alt tracks here by putting the power down and running out wide. He does have the Ferrari getting a little bit wide, and might have just been an off track at the top by Spoon. But we are starting to see drivers in the pits. Duplessis, Heineke, Chris Collison, David van Veek, Werner Buschhoff, all diving into the pits, deciding the weather is getting a bit much to deal with, and they're going to rather focus on getting the cars sorted out and continuing on. And if we take a look at the rear wing, we can already start to see the track getting a bit wet out there. Puddles starting to form in sections of the circuit, and that means these tires are going to be hanging on for dear life. Taking a look, though, we do have a collision with the number 3 car. That is Lucan Haynes, who is part of the Snails Racing, unfortunately. Going and just getting out of shape. Dives into the pits, so not looking all bad there. Oh, Larrero coming in a bit hot. Oh, Larrero giving a little bit of a heave over there to Lucan, saying, listen, we've got to go. Come on, we can't hang around here. You need to get going. A little bit of contact in pit lane. Not ideal circumstances, but hopefully we will go and see how it goes. Well, Jared Pacur going and giving a quote. There we go. Nice one to have on the t-shirt, but wouldn't recommend walking around in the public with that type of t-shirt. Kerry Duplessis with the Tech 1 Racing Lexus onto the back of Benjamin Till. Goes around the outside. He's got a bit of damage on the car that he's trying to deal with at the moment, but was able to make it quite an easy pass. Benjamin Till not fighting too hard there. Reginald Mutalini catching up to Vernon Putter, but time starting to drop in. People starting to pit. Vegard Krobler gets a pass on Hansi Myberg, who dives into the dirt and does a little bit of grazing, but it is Vegard Krobler to go out a little bit longer in the running order. Fleming Bauer going and having a bit of a tough time as well, trying to get some grip at the moment. You could see the rooster tail coming off those rears, and it's starting to become a bit more of an issue. Not able to break into Cassio corner, and he will be considering, just can't get the rear to fight back. Was aiming for pit lane and was stepping out. So Henry Mayer and Fleming Bauer deciding they're going to keep going, and that, unfortunately, is Kerry Pukes, the number 6, into number 33, into the weeds. Stingers Racing getting unsettled. Rooster Tail becoming more and more out of the 130R, heading towards Cassio. We did see that look to be the likes of, that was one of our Mustangs. We'll take a look. That's Kerry Pukes. And that was Tyler Humphreys that got a big tank slapper into the 130R that we saw in the background. So Tyler Humphreys still continues on after his tank slapper. He's got Sean Fears on to the back of him. But many of the drivers diving into the pits, getting their first pit stops done and starting to swap out those tyres. First of the drivers that have completed their first pit stop and is currently out is Duplessis. Stop go 32nd, however, for Rick Thomas, who will be going and kicking himself, and that is for coming off the pit limiter a little too early, engaging second gear, and it takes him out of that pit limiter, drops him off, and now will have to serve a stop go 30-second penalty on his next pit stop. That is going to hurt him, and has to keep a consideration of it to move his way up through the order, down in 27th position overall. Henry Mayer leading out our pros and overall, followed by Fleming Bauer, Jason Farmer, and Tyler Humphreys is our top 4 of our pros, with our 5th car being Daniel van der Venter lying in 6th. First of our Pro-Ams is Jean Verveers running at the top, lying in 5th, with Leon Swan in 2nd place. Vian Putter in 10th. Is running 3rd of our Pro-Ams, Vesselwoda, and Reginald Mutaleni rounds out the pack. We are seeing, however, a bit of contact between Putter, and it looks like Henry Platt as well, the number 9, getting twisted round. And let's try and take a look what happened. A lot of damage to the front nose. So this is heading through Degner 2. Did he get a bit of rear contact here? Up towards the hairpin, side by side. Gets very close to the likes of Ian Putter, and contact between the two into the wall. Was just leaning on that right-hand side and wasn't able to bring it back. Henry Platt now trying to find any bit of grip. We'll have to get there into pit lane, do a bit of repair work, and also go and change out those tyres. Shows the wet weather not helping, as Hansi Myberg also sporting a bit of damage on the car. Has got Duplessis all over the back of him. Duplessis is on wet weather tyres. He's been in for his first pit stop. Dives for 130R. Gets the pass done. Continues on the drive. And you can see the amount of grip the wet weather tyres have over the slicks at this point. And many of the drivers will have to take cognizance of that fact. But still so many are carrying on. Our first 13 drivers are pushing through the conditions. Something tells me they have either started on wet weather tyres, banking on the rain to come, or they are managing to control these conditions and do everything they can to carry on. Now we're going to take a look on board with the likes of Henry Mayer from the helmet cam, our eye in the helmet, to just give us a bit of a sense of what's going on. A bit of a tank slapper, he's fishing around, not too much on the traction control. You would see the traction control on the left and right of the center screen where the gear is, where it's lying in 4th. You would also see the ABS kick up. Now into the hairpin, you can see the green starting to kick up. That tells that traction control is being engaged ever so slightly on the left hand side. Not carrying a lot. Big tank slapper as he fishes the car out and continues on the drive. So traction control actually running a bit lower to allow the car to have that little bit of more rotation underneath him, and using his right foot to essentially control it. Motsahile and Vion Putter coming to contact, and Vesselwoda going and getting that pass down, and Dustin will be happy to continue on his drive. So 29 cars still going and pushing on as hard as they can to battle their way through. Rick Thomas, stop go, 30-second penalty still to serve. He will have to stop in the box, serve it, and get going. This would be his first of the stop go 30 seconds. So he did a drive through on that last pit stop. So instead of going into the pits, he did a drive through the pits and not the stop go. So Rick Thomas for the Pandacity team, maybe not getting the right call there, getting told you actually need to do a stop go. You need a stop in that box. You can't just drive through at the moment, because he came through the pit lane once. He's in for the third time now. Needs to stop dead in that box. He needs to wait that 30 seconds. It's not a drive through. Slowing it right down. And is he going to be going into the pit box? This is the question. Yes, he is. So the order has been given. Stop in the box. Wait 30 seconds. And that will also count as a pit stop coming in as well. So he can try and work out how to get the car sorted out. But then he's got to race for another 1 hour, 40 minutes on the same set of tires, and with the amount of conditions out there, if that may change. Vesselwoda gets a tank slapper and nearly catching the nose of Bego Krobler, as that is Leon Swan into the wall, and unfortunately not an easy time coming through the S's. Vesselwoda, Bego Krobler and Motsahile going and gaining a position, and will continue their climb up through the order. Daniel van der Venter all over the back of Jean Verveers, as Johan Verveers going and making his way through. Johan holds the inside line, keeps it nice and tight, runs out a bit wide, but it's open the inside for the likes of Daniel to go for the drive. Couldn't get it done. Will have to wait out yet again. Couple of drivers missing from this. The likes of Heineke, who is out on circuits, missing the likes of Jared Bakum, who is out. So there will be a change up there, especially for the tied position. Jared was going in tied for the running. Brandon Kruger not in this race, so he's missing out an opportunity, and it will allow Fleming Bauer to gain a position over him. Bego Krobler also has an opportunity. Henry Platter on circuit. Kurt Bukes will be trying to move his way up in the order, and I do think that Kurt Bukes might not be in the server at all, so he's also one of the cars missing out tonight, unfortunately. That is a big change up for our championship. Taking a look at another person that's also used to having random conditions kicking out. We got Paul the Wolf Enter out there in the grandstands wearing his bright pink rain suit, and good to have him out there and busy smiling and having a good day, and now having the rain not going and raining on his parade as he watches on with the drivers. But it is still lots to play for. Duplessis gaining some time now. He's lined up behind Duplessis. He looks to the outside, looks to the inside. He constantly tries to figure out where is he going to go. Looks for the inside yet again. Stretches the braking a little bit further into turn one. Sees that Motsahile has gone out wide, as there's a little bit of contact between the likes of Duplessis and the likes of, well, Quentin Duplessis and Harry Duplessis. Got to get the Duplessis right, and it's going to be a proper chase through. So, that being said, a couple of drivers losing out. Actually, Harry Bukes is in the server. Apologies. He is going around, but as we cut the camera to him, we've got information that the rain stopped, and looking at it as well, the rain has stopped. Yet again, a curveball has gone and thrown in. So this is going to turn things on its head. We had that spat of dry. We now had the spat of rain. We're back into the dry. 1 hour and 57 seconds to go. Dry line starting to form. Circuit is incredibly hot. Lots of cars going around, which means we're seeing a whole lot of moving forward. Henry Mayer visiting the outside of the 130R will be going and cursing this fact, as he's been trying to run that little bit further in the race. Bauer running in second place. Jason Farmer up into third place, continues on his charge. Tyler Humphries, who's remaining in fourth place, a little bit damage to the front of the car. He's had some argy-bargy moments, but is running fourth. This is one of the highest positions he's been all season long, so going and improving every step of the way. Viswoda's got the likes of Bago Krobler having a go, not able to do it into Cassio corner. However, Bago just not having the legs over Viswoda's Mercedes AMG GT3 up against Bago Krobler's Mustang GT3. So good to see drivers having to continue on that gap. We do, however, see Duplessis turning lights on. He's looking to try and make up some time. Bago Krobler going through the puddles, and you can already see a little bit of a rooster tail that sticks around and fades off as the driver's starting to understand the conditions, getting more and more tricky out there, starting to look for the puddles. And this is where, if you're on wet weather tires, you will start to look for the puddles to cool the tires down to continue on the drive. But if you get over the curb, as you saw Wessel did, put his nose on, that got him a bit upset and will have to do it. So why so serious? Well, the serious conditions telling it all. Going around deep on the inside, Bago Krobler just not having the run over the likes of Viswoda at the moment, who's continuing on his charge, runs out a bit wide, change up for position however, and that is Bago Krobler in on the inside, gotten the pass done, and Duplessis now gaining some time. A little bit further up the road, we got Vian Putter, who is part of the top running orders in qualifying and practice, now trying to fight his way through, lying in 7th place, got Jean Fears for a bit of company ahead as he looks to continue on the drive, looks to the inside, goes to the outside, sun's coming out, and it is absolute beautiful day. Vian Putter visits the sideline to wave to the spectators, joins back in, and I'm sure we'll be getting a bit of a warning at that one. So is Fundafento, who ran out a bit wide ahead. Viswoda losing out to Duplessis, also trying to gain some traction at the moment. Heineke dealing with the likes of Reginald Muteleni. Now Heineke has done his first pit stop, same as likes of Quentin Duplessis up ahead, lying in 9th place, has completed his first pit stop. Duplessis, however, getting it out of shape, and that may have been a little bit of contact with the likes of Bago Krobler. I'm going to try and take a look what happened there for the likes of Duplessis. That was into 130R, so gaining some drive, little by little by little by little, and this is going to be an outright drive. Bago Krobler keeping the defense, holds the outside line. Duplessis looks inside, goes back, looks inside yet again. Oh, contact between the two. Looked like Bago got out of shape, and that just had Duplessis arriving on the scene of it all going wrong. So definitely a bit of a tough time out there. That's now twisted him around. Leon Swan and Ruan Heineke going side by side. Swan, who visited the wall earlier, trying to continue on the drive. Heineke, who's done his first pit stop, now trying to carry the momentum through. Many of the drivers still keeping that they've got 2 pit stops in the bag in case conditions change yet again. Daniel Fonafenta being overtaken by Tyler Humphries. Oh, missed his braking marker. Tyler Humphries gets it in the back. Vian Putter says thank you very much. Jean Fafir says thank you very much. And Tyler Humphries falling down the order yet again, and living up to the name of Angry Racing, because definitely not smiling after that little bit of contact, and it was just into the braking zone a little bit too far, costing him some time. Leon Swan and Ruan Heineke trying to battle their way through. Heineke gets a pass done and dusted, and Putter unfortunately that's Leon Swan, unable to fight it out. Daniel Fonafenta fighting out with Leon Putter up ahead, both in white Aston Martins. And the Apex Titan Racing AMR now trying everything possible to stay ahead of Daniel Fonafenta as he continues on the drive. Sean Loureiro battling out with a bit of damage to his car. Has got Benjamin Till, who is more than happy at the moment. The Racing Styles driver continues on the drive all the way from Ireland and continues to know the weather, understanding it a bit better. Jackie Alberts, Lucan Haynes, Gerard Pretorius all into the pits. Henry Platt as well continues on his drive, as we do have yet another retirement down to 28 cars. Henry Platt doing his final pit stop of the race, a little bit on the earlier side, 55 minutes to go. He's opting rather change the tires, rather get the fuel and carry on to the end. But it is broad daylight, wet weather tires are going to be battling here, and it will be a consideration for many of the drivers. That being said, we've got to talk about the gains and losses, because there has been some big turnarounds, and this is of our running cars. We're not going to count those that have thrown the towel in and walked away. Don't really think that's the right way of doing things. But it is Daniel van Venter who is up 13 places. Started in 18. He is now in 5th, keeping on to the back of Vian Putter for 4th place. So 13 positions gained since the start of the race. Kerry Duplessis for Tech 1 Racing in the Lexus, currently up 10 positions from where he started. He's in 9th, started in 19th. So great running on his order to move his way back up through the field. However, though, big loss of position, and that is mainly due to pit stops, is this man. Quinn Duplessis down 19 positions, going 20, now 21, as he's doing his 2nd pit stop of the race. It looks like might be doing a bit of repair work at the same time. Gerrit Bukes now into the pits as well. He's down 13 positions on his running order, and the Jackie Albert's down 10 positions. And those are our only drivers at the moment, Chris Collison as well, that are in the double digits of loss of position. So still a lot of time to be had. Many of the drivers trying to figure out what can they do to move their way up through the order. What's going to be the game plan? Looking over to our weather radar. Weather is seeming to change yet again. Looks like we're in for a bit of sunshine for a little bit longer in this race, and that is going to make things rather tricky for many of the drivers to start considering what they need to do to push their way up in the order. Henry Mayer, Fleming Bauer, Jason Farmer, Vian Putter, Daniel van Venter, Jean Verveers, Beggar Krobler, Tyler Humphries, Kerry Duplessis, Orihite Matsahile, Leon Swan, Reginald Mutaleni, all still needing to do their first pit stops. And the likes of Jaco Kutza, who has visited the pits not once, but twice already, who hasn't been able to stop in the box perfectly right in that square, has done 2 pit stops, 32.2 seconds. So that's been a full tire and fuel done. But since it was angled wrong and he needed to be moved into the pit box, his pit stops have not counted despite going into the pits. So this is a nightmare situation for him, as he will tumble down the order. And once again, reiterate, you have to get it right. Aim for the square, get into the box and get going, as we do see one of the Pandacity cars into the pits. And that may have been down the order, just trying to see who it may be. Ruin Heineke, David van Veek is in the pits. Gerald Pretorius, it wasn't a Pandacity, it was a Griffin Sim Racing in purple. It's always challenging when you start getting a mix of colors that all start to look the same from afar. Vian Putter and Daniel van Venter still keeping a good chase on the back of one another. Good racing between these two, constantly keeping each other honest in the race. But Vian Putter leads out the Pro-Am division with the likes of Jean Verveers, or Johan Verveers, I do apologize. Johan Verveers running in the 6th, is 2nd of the Pro-Am. Kerry Duplessis running 3rd of the Pro-Am. So those are the 2 cars that he's got to keep an eye out for. At the moment, Daniel van Venter is that little bit of a back to protect him from the likes of Johan Verveers, who is starting to make up a bit of time, starting to close that gap. Now, for Daniel van Venter, he just needs to stamp on the gas and fly on by to be able to move his way through. But at the moment, Putter is defending his position. He's fighting. Whether you're Pro-Am, he's going to fight you out, no less, and will continue on the drive. That being said, taking a look at drivers that have completed their pit stops, Duplessis has still got 1 stop to go, and he has gone twice in through the box. So Duplessis did not get that 2nd pit stop right, and that unfortunately will take him out of the order. Despite going into the pits twice, they had to move his car, and he will be dropping out through the order. Vian Putter now into the pits, but that means first of those running with the pit stops done and dusted is Werner Buschhoff. Who would have guessed Werner Buschhoff with Chris Collison making the way through? Our top runners starting to battle to get into the box and make it work for them. As Putter into the pits, now trying to get himself sorted. Is this going to count, however, as he's trying to get his pit stop done and dusted? We're waiting to just get confirmation. Kerry Duplessis as well into the pits, and Van der Vente into the pits as well. So Vian Putter, who's been on a proper charge, may have gone slightly out of the box, and the pit stop may not have counted. Waiting to find out. We will get confirmation of that, but it looks like Putter's dropping down the order. Vian Putter's definitely dropped down the order here on our timing table, and he's done his first pit stop. So that's it. His first pit stop has counted, and will be continuing on the drive. So Putter, who gets a disqualification. My heavens. Oh my. I'm gutted. Vian Putter, our first disqualification of the season, and that would be for speeding in pit lane. Vian Putter, who was leading out the Pro-Am, who was one of the top Pro-Am drivers coming into Suzuka, is now disqualified out of the session. That is game over. Walk away. You're done. And our third place in the championship, a do not finish in round 3, will be a non-finisher for round 4 after taking a win in round 2 and in round 1. That has now gone and gut punched him. 2 rounds in a row after 2 wins in a row. I mean, this has just gone and changed up the entire run. And that's going to allow Werner Buschhoff, Wesselwoda, David van Veek, Ferry Duplessis, Johan Verveers, Hansi Meiberg all gain a position in the championship. Oh, I would not like to be in that pit right now, because I'm sure there's a few words being said for Mr. Putter, who unfortunately disqualified out of it all. So 27 cars remain during the course of this race, as we see Ruben Heineke and Jaco Kotze battling it out. Jaco trying to look for the inside, not able to get the drive, will go to the outside. It is bright, it's sunny, he's late on the anchors. Heineke with a solid defense at the moment. Now Heineke's known for this. He's able to position the car into the middle of the circuit, but he does start to battle with understeer towards the late part. He's very aggressive on his driving, likes to go and use a lot of slip angle, lots of slide, allow the car to rotate, and keeps the pressure on the car. Unfortunately, that will take him to hurt the tires that little bit further. 47 minutes, however, to go. Still one pit stop. He does have an opportunity to get another set of tires on the car and continue on the drive. Henry Mayer leads out the top. Reginald Mutelani in the top 10. Now, we've got to talk about this. Reginald Mutelani has had luck and bad luck continuously. He's a driver that has had it all and lost it all during the course of the races. He's now into 8th place. He's still got 2 pit stops to go, but up against Leon Swan up ahead, that is keeping him honest. The Apex Titans Racing will get information that his teammate now disqualified, and it's all up to him. For the Apex Titans Racing will be going and dragging the team from the pit, saying, listen guys, we've got to get you back out here and get you ready for any pit stop. If we need to change tires, do any fixes, or concentrate on what we need to do. Fleming Bauer up into 5th place, has completed his first pit stop, and leading out those that have completed their first pit stop. Now I just want to take a look. Duplessis out on circuit still has got one more pit stop in the bag to do, as he is lying in 12th place. This is still not optimum position for him, and will be waiting it out. Leon Swan going and making his way through the Casio corner, lost out a bit of time, dives into the pits. He's going to go for his pit stop, looking for the undercut here at Suzuka. Bego Krobler of Team Wolf going and fighting it out against Kerry Duplessis. Bego, very familiar with the circuit, runs up very wide. If I remember correctly, this was a championship round for Bego Krobler into the previous seasons, and landed up getting onto the final steps of the podium by making the made or break moves through the 130R into the Casio corner. And he's trying to recreate that same effort at the moment to get into the top 10. Kerry Duplessis, however, utilizing the small block Lexus V8 that is able to put out 570 horsepower, continues the drive to put the pressure on the more modern Mustang GT3 that came out in 2024, or GTD if it's known in IMSA terms, and GT3 in WEC and SRO terms. is a bit of a change there. Do you know you can also get the GT3, which is the road-going version of the Mustang? There we go. The more you know. The more that you know. It's the same names all over. And we are getting reports, however, Terence Ferreira not having a good time. Number 20 going and smashing the nose off on his Mustang. And this is a very, very second-hand. Oh, through 130. Oh, tank slapper into the wall. Monster impact. Makes it into Casio corner. Beautiful stop, however. 10 points on the stop. Would say about 2 points for the impact on the wall for Terence. And unfortunately, in a tow back to the pits is going to cost him a bit of time here. Hopefully they're able to get that car out. Team opting that it's too damaged and retiring the car. So Terence Ferreira, unfortunately, out of the race. And that is a gut punch. Yet another driver out of the race due to severe damage on the car. And no extensive repairs can be done to it. Terence Ferreira opting, it's done. Rather wait it out. Will go and sit and watch the racing as it continues on. Duplessis, however, battling against Funafenta, fighting out for the top 10. Both are in the same class, and this means it's a bit of a challenge for Daniel Funafenta, who is looking to gain points in the championship. Duplessis is way down in the championship. If I remember correctly, this is his first time racing this season. Well, it was his first time going and just getting past Daniel Funafenta, who missed out the braking marker by light years. Now, Duplessis only raced in the last round, so Duplessis missed out 2 rounds and is trying to make up the points here at round 4. So a bit of a high climb to make his way through. A bit of a challenging time for our drivers. Duplessis getting the pass done, Finninter down into 11th position. Drivers starting to open up. 25 cars still going. 43 minutes left of this race, and it is still all to play for with our Pro and Pro-Am class. If you're just joining us, a massive welcome to you all, wherever you've been. It has been a crazy couple of minutes here at Suzuka. The weather has changed from rain in qualifying to dry at the start to rain again to beautiful sunny conditions that you got to put the sunscreen on. That is for certain, as Hansi Myberg loses our position to the likes of Duplessis and has Funafenta now gaining time on him. Hansi Myberg just not having enough top end to fight out. Will start to lose out against Daniel Funafenta, who looks far more fixed than the Team Tryhard driver. Jason Farmer into the pits. On the orange, we've got our mandatory pit stops. If it's a 2, that means they got 2 mandatory pit stops. 1 means they got 1 more. Green means they're okay to race to the end. And with the drivers fighting it out, whatever's in the red, like Henry Mayer, Jason Farmer, Tyler Humphries, Fleming Bauer, Motsakile, that is our pro drivers. And taking a look to our silvers, that is our Pro-Am. That being said, interesting tell going on here. Fleming Bauer, who was only stopped in the box for 6.5 seconds, and so was Jason Farmer, 6.6 seconds. Both drivers did not change tires. It was a splash and dash for both drivers, and they are the only ones that have done that during their first pit stop. Everyone else has gone into their second pit stop, splash and dash and keep going, or changing tires. Others deciding not to. So definitely a bit of a play here. Maybe single sting the tires to the end, seeing that there is an opportunity to. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen it. Going back to last season, Dean Lockyer actually getting that one done. We're running a single sting tires right through the season till the very last, towards the last race, where he wasn't able to carry it through. He had to change tires out. Wasn't able to see the end of the season due to the selling of his rig, but did also make drivers question of how much time loss can be done with a tire change. Motsahile spending a lot of time in the pits, will now exit, and this is going to be a rough one for him. 75, 76, so he has spent 44.9 seconds in the box doing a bit of repair work, and it took him nearly 32 seconds to drive through pit lane. And I mean, that is well over 72 seconds of waiting, and a lot of work has been done to that car. A lot of bang crash thud to ensure that they get it up and going. Werner Buschhoff continues to try and make up the drive on him, as we do see the likes of the Griffin Sim Racing team opening up the gap, and that is Gerald Pretorius in the Ford Mustang continuing on his drive. So still time starting to open up between drivers, and everyone's starting to get in their rhythm, starting to get in the groove. Final pit stops, however, need to be done by the drivers. Leon Swan will be one facing a lot of hurt at the moment as he's down in 18th position and still needs to do his final pit stop of the race. Otsikile down in 16, everyone below them sitting with their pit stops done and dusted. Heineke, Gerry du Plessis, Vega Grobler all continue on their drive. But it is going to be a big call for Henry Mayer, Johan Verveers, along with Tyler Humphries, Reginald Mutuleni, and Benjamin Till, along with Hansi Myburg, who still need to do at least one of their mandatory pit stops. Henry Mayer running in a long run here, along with Johan Verveers going and continuing on the drive. So taking a little bit long game into the race, something that is not advised, and many of the drivers will start to think about it. And I go back to some chats with the likes of Van der Walt, Tienas Buerta, and Paul Fenter, having this chat with them and saying, listen, what has been the game plan when you start having the 2 mandatory pit stops? And rather going the first 45 minutes and then get as close as you can to the final 10 minutes. Fastest lap time out of the race, however, and this is the fastest lap time of the entire session, has been set by the likes of Quan du Plessis, who's sitting with a 2-minute .9, and he's lying in 8th place. He's rocketing in that Lamborghini GT3 Evo 2 as he continues on the drive. Fun fact for anyone that's out there that enjoys Lamborghinis, you want to tell the difference between an Evo 1 and an Evo 2. Evo 2 has got the fin on the back, Evo 1 has not. It's just got a rounded back. So any Evo 2 has got the airbox with the fin, and that is directly pushing air into towards the motor for cooling. Also got little ducts on the back that help push it towards the brakes to help cool everything down. So if you ever wondered what's in that behind the cool airbox that's there and what's the reason for it, go and take a look. We actually do have one in South Africa now under the Into Africa colors. That's got an Evo 2. How's that for a bit of fun fact? Fun fact, Wesselwoda fighting out with Hansi Myburg and Bego Krobler joining in the party. Hansi Myburg goes out wide. Bego Krobler sweeps in underneath him, says thank you very much, gets done and dusted, continues on the drive, and that is Tyler Humphries looking very, very second-hand. The Mustangs currently eating the walls. This is not ideal, going the 777, going into a difficult situation. So let's take a look at what happened to the likes of Tyler Humphries. Coming out through the final corner, all looking okay. Continues on the drive. Oh! Speared into the wall. Constantly pulling right. So still going right, and he traveled his way through. Did he look to be a mechanical failure that snapped him there? Let's go quickly on board. And going around, right hand. Oh, just completely right. Still accelerating. And he is locked right. There is no movement on that steering. And Tyler Humphries towed back to pit. Something went on with the car. Was doing so well. And unfortunately, the Angry Racing retiring with a mechanical failure by the looks of it, where it just pulled his steering into the wall. So definitely a bit of a break there. We go to our man on the ground, Paul Frenter. That can tell us the amount of damage to the car. Paul, 5 rating out of 10. How broken is that wall after Tyler Humphries went into it? Getting some reports though, Tyler Humphries saying wheels and pedals disconnected, mechanical failure. That is why it all went wrong. We did see suddenly a pulling to the right and the engine just locked out. And unfortunate blow. Tyler, is there any opportunity to get that car back out? This is a call to you to try and get with the team. See if possibly you can get that car up and going and head out for the final bit of the race. I mean, we've got 36 minutes to go. There's got to be an opportunity to get that car back out and on the way. They got Krobler up on the inside of Wesselwoda. The 2 V8s saw through, and it's going to be the Mustang having a little bit more drive out of the hairpin. That low-end torque coming in to work it out. Kira Bukes fighting out with Jackie Alberts. It's the Racing Snails up against the Stingers. Now, a fun little fact here. Racing Snails was all yellow, and the likes of Stingers were all yellow as well. So I'm glad there was a bit of a discussion between the two teams, and we came with the Stingers in a little bit of black. Good to see. And, well, would say all the Wolf Enters saying Wall 10, Tyler not so much. Tyler Humphries saying unfortunately it looked like the car is toast and the mechanical failure has taken him out of the race. That is gut-wrenching to hear for Tyler Humphries, and oh man, what a blow. Honestly, what a blow. Harry Duplessis gets a pass on Hansi Myberg, continues on the drive. Fleming Bauer into the pits. And we're going to see if we can possibly get Tyler Humphries in just for a few little words to give us a bit of an understanding of what that feeling was going and having the whole steering and pedals disconnect for many of the drivers that have never experienced that and how much of a shock it may be. So Tyler, if you wouldn't mind coming through to the commentary box and just give us a quick word of what happened and what just went on with your car, we'd really appreciate it for the Angry Racing team, because you were on a proper charge on the way through. Fleming Bauer on a proper charge, getting it all sideways out on circuit, manages to control the car, but he is fighting up with Vessel Motor. Fleming Bauer leads out those that have completed all their pit stops, with his teammate Henry Mayer running in first place, Reginald Mitteleni in second, Duplessis, who has done his first pit stop, running in third, set the fastest lap time of the race. Last lap time, however, was a little bit worse, doing a 2:01.9. A little bit slower there for the likes of Quinn Duplessis. So Quinn now having to try, and Quan Duplessis now continues on his drive through order, and it does look like David van Wyk for Slipstream Racing. Also, possible retirement for the number 17. Let's quickly take a look at what happened. So he did have Bego Krobler on the back of him, and David van Wyk continues on the drive. Bego Krobler up on the inside, a little bit of contact. Oh, the Slipstream Racing getting pushed right off circuit, and that was that. So no massive damage to the car, but the little bit of contact obviously has done a bit more than what he's thought, and a little bit of damage may have incurred to it. So let's bring in our guest of the evening, the likes of Tyler Humphries, to give us a bit of an idea of what's going on. Tyler Humphries, welcome to the commentary box. Not quite where we want to see you. Tell us what, for many that have just joined us, what has gone on with the Angry Racing Mustang?
Good evening, Stephen. Good evening, stream. Basically, you're mid-corner and all of a sudden your car doesn't want to do what you want it to do. So that's fun.
So steering disconnect and pedal disconnect. It's just
Yes,
a nightmare situation. Mechanical coming in. You were on such a stellar drive while we got you here. Take us through the beginning of the race. It looked like you had it all hooked up. The change of weather. What was going through the mind?
Yeah, so I started on dries. My plan all along was to go the full race on that same set of dries. It looked like it was only going to rain for 10-15 minutes, and with the lap time difference being so massive between wet tires and dry tires, if you can hold on for long enough, you won't really lose too much time. And with majority of the race being dry, it's a no-brainer to stay on dries. Yeah, so I just held on during the wet phase, struggling a lot as you'd expect with dries in almost torrential conditions. And yeah, then once it started to dry up, tires came back, could start doing normal laps, braking normally, getting on the power normally. Yeah, it was going well to plan, I'd say.
It's just unfortunate having the whole thing fall apart right at the last minute. But that being said, still lots to move on. Now, we do know that the last 2 rounds haven't been the best of luck for you. 3rd round not working out. Do you think you're going to be ready heading into round 5 next week?
I mean, I would be lying if I said yes. I don't even know what track's next week. I kind of take it 1 week at a time, but we'll try our best.
Alright, and before we let you go, anything you want to say to our amazing sponsors out here, to the teams, the drivers, and most importantly the fans is supporting the Angry Racing team and the fellow Raceface drivers?
I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone, to the fans. You are the reason why we do this every week. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. We're almost where we, Stephen, on subscribers.
We well over 1,000, heading into 1,500 at this point.
Okay, let's get to 1,500, guys. The more support you show us, the better it makes us feel, and it makes us perform better. So if we can do that, that would be amazing.
I most certainly agree. Thank you very much, Tyler Humphries. And guys, take a look at Tyler Humphries' social media as well. Does a lot of race day photography and a lot of social media in terms of videography, and that definitely want to keep an eye out for, especially in the background of stuff. I know you've been around the MSA4s, so maybe little bit of inside look of those cars behind the scenes with the covers all taken off for the OnlyFans in that sort of respect.
Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it so much.
Tyler Humphries of Angry Racing giving us a bit of a chat and finding out what's gone on. That steering disconnect taking him out of the race. Like I said, definitely go and take a look. And very good in terms of videography, but Barcelona will be the next one. Hopefully the Angry Racing team can get him up and going and will continue on the drive. That being said, however, Henry Mayer, with 30 minutes to go, leads out the pack with the likes of Duplessis now in second. Daniel van der Vente running in third place. That is our top three of Pro. We've got the likes of Johan Verveers. He's running first of our Pro-Ams with the likes of Wesselwoda and Harry Duplessis running our top three of our Pro-Ams. All still needing to do their final pit stops. However, down in 6th and 7th, Fleming Bauer and Jason Farmer taking a different approach. They have completed all their pit stops. They're looking to go that little bit later into it. Their last stops were a tyre change on both cars. So they are hoping that's going to work out for them. Chris Collison, however, pointing the wrong way up the road. And that is not where you want to be through the 130R. Trying to turn it round. And no, this is heading to the 130R. That's out of Spoon. And it's got a twisted around. So he's able to return to the circuit with the 22 staring up in a blind corner. Not ideal circumstances. Let's take a look. This is through Spoon. Runs out through the first left-hander, down into the second left-hander, hooks a curb, runs out a bit wide. Oh, the lazy slide of the Mustang saves it away from the wall and looks up towards the blind corner, tries to bring it back to the inside to ensure that he protects himself, knowing everyone's going to go on the outside line as they accelerate. So some very smart driving there to return the car to the likes of the inside line, but also to keep well enough aware of utilizing what they have as a radar system. It allows them to see what's coming in. The relative will allow us to see how far the cars are to them in terms of 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second, however many seconds it may be. In Wesselwoda's time, it's the likes of Kerry Duplessis getting the pass, and that is a change for second place. Wesselwoda down into third. Got a spin out of the second Digna, and now has got Ruan Heineke chasing him down for the third place, while Kerry Duplessis in the Lexus continues to open up that gap a little bit more in this race. Drivers are starting to top off at the moment, and so I have a bit of problem. Singers Racing giving a bit of a radio report saying, whoops, that was not to plan, but we take everything as not to plan, and that's honestly a very good move in terms of it. So the Stingers Racing giving a bit of insight there. We'll have a chat to him. I think there's a certain driver that's owing the Stingers Racing team in general a chocolate milkshake for that little bit of a heart scare, as we see Bago Krobler and Fleming Bauer going and chasing their way through. Duplessis into the pits, while Bauer and Bago continue on their drive. Verveers continues on his drive through, so Duplessis finishing his final pit stop. He needs to come out ahead of Fleming Bauer and Jason Farmer, and he has not. Fleming Bauer puts the fastest lap time of the race at 2:07. Jason Farmer follows him through. Duplessis has fallen down the order. He's risked that final pit stop. Hansi Myberg into the pits as well to get his pit stop done and dusted. Duplessis waiting to see when he gets out onto circuit. Does get out. And unfortunately, a lot of fuel was put in this time around. 14.6 on that last run, on that last pit stop. So he's definitely fueled it up, got himself sorted and back out, but has lost out to Fleming Bauer and Jason Farmer, who's going to be gaining. He's got a bit of work to try and claw his way through. Let's see how it's going to work out. Now, Fleming Bauer has been putting on a solid charge. Fastest lap that time, that last lap. He's now onto the likes of Bago Krobler. Team Wolf against Pandacity. We are starting to see a bit of a challenge of the animals here. Bago Krobler showing his fangs, while Fleming Bauer will take on with the claws. Henry Mayer puts in the fastest lap time of the race of 2:06 to take that fastest lap away from his teammate. Heading down to Spoon, Bago Krobler keeping a solid defense. Fleming Bauer continues on the drive, slowly feeding the power on. 25 minutes and 58 seconds to go as we start getting into the closing 30 minutes, or the end of the 25-minute mark of our Raceface.Pro. Round 4 here at Suzuka, and it's all or nothing now for drivers to put the hammer down It is all or nothing for the championship. Many trying to figure out what is going to work for them. How are they going to go on? We are getting reports, however, for the likes of Yakokotsa. He was unable to finish due to a disconnect, and that is him out of the race. So, heart going out to Yakokotsa of the Ominous Gaming team. He had a disconnect that threw him out. He did start from the pits, made up a lot of ground, and unfortunately wasn't able to make it to the end. I mean, this is just going and... this is just going and hurting of note, unfortunately, and will be out of it. So, tough one. We are getting notes that Brandon Kruger, unfortunately, not able to make it to Suzuka. He's in a bit of a birthday time, so he's not going to be there, here as well, but is enjoying from the sideline. So we are getting some reports from some of the drivers, notifying, looking in from the outside, trying to figure out what's going to work out for them. Fleming Bauer and Beggar Kobler continue on their drive to move their way up through the order. Bauer, however, can't get past Beggar Kobler. They have caught up to the likes of Jan Vertheers as Werner Buschhoff gets it out of shape through the S's and has got a very, very damaged Mustang, the 667, looking a little bit second hand. Let's try and take a look what happened and go on board as he makes his way through turn one. Double right-handed, goes back on the inside over the curb, sliding out a bit wide, touches the grass and swings towards the wall. That little bit of loss of traction is what's thrown him into the dirt and having lots and lots of damage on the way through. Not ideal circumstances. Another one is the likes of Kurt Bukes and Lucan Haynes. So let's try and take a look here. Runs out a little bit wide through 130R into Casio corner. Hard on the anchors. Where did it all go wrong, however? Lucan runs out a bit wide. Does have his teammate come through and... Benjamin Till getting squeezed a little bit. 3 wide on the exit of Casio corner. That is honestly well done to the drivers. Little bit of rubbing and racing picked up by our timing system, but for Benjamin Till, pushed all the way on the outside, continuing to hold the fight against the likes of Kurt Bukes was just stunning racing to see. And honestly, they pushing their way a little bit forward up the corner. So always great to see the drivers going that little bit further, trying to dig a little bit deep. Benjamin Till up on the inside. Khan get the drive yet again. Gerrit just continues to hold that 16th position. Vesselwoda has been doing incredibly well. The Kramandulas Racing, Vesselwoda has got Kerry Duplessis in his sights, locked down and looking to fight. Currently chasing down for second in class. Ruben Heineke joining. So we got second, third, and fourth in class running in the order, 7th, 8th, and 9th. This is going to be interesting for the likes of Duplessis. He's got the low end torque to fight it out with Vesselwoda, who's getting a lot of the tank slappers on the way through. Not able to get the drive. Heineke, Haven, the 296, slowly but surely going and grabbing a bit of time. So it's so yellow through the corner. That's very true. As the Singers Racing and the Racing Sales going and putting on a fantastic performance out of Casio. You got to watch time when it comes to those teams. Catch the dad joke. You're welcome. Happy Father's Day coming to all. That being said, though, Vesselwoda looks up on the inside of Kerry Duplessis. Couldn't get the pass done as the two V8s rocket away from the turbocharged V6 of the Ferrari 296. Fleming Bauer still on the back of Beggar Krobler with the likes of Johan Vertheers just a little bit further up the road. They can see and looking for the attack on the way through. This is lots of pressure. Now, Fleming Bauer hasn't got any pressure to gain a position at the moment. He is currently leading out those that have completed all their pit stops. Duplessis, likes of Quan Duplessis is down in 10th place. He's completed his pit stops, but unfortunately down in 10th. He is way out of the fight here. He's got Masahile for a bit of company. Vesselwoda getting a phenomenal drive out of 130R around the outside. Couldn't quite get the hammer down for the likes of Casio corner as he tries to put the hammer down. Out in through the final corner. Runs out wide. Ruben Heineke dives into the pits, deciding that he's going to leave these two to duke it out for second and third place. He's going to try go for the undercut and see if it makes a way through. Motsahile through 130R, the 111, unfortunately having a bit of contact with the wall. So this is Motsahile in the McLaren 720S Evo. as he comes down to the 130R, runs it nice and close, over the curbs, gets the rear a little bit unsettled, comes over the AstroTurf, swings around, and monster impact up against the wall on the inside. Oh, man. That is going to be a big repair time for the McLaren driver as he dives into the pits with Leon Swan following in suit. Fleming Bauer still on Bego Krobler, and Jackie Alberts having Reginald Mutalini for a bit of company as well. Now, Jackie Alberts in the Mustang continues on his drive. Reginald Mutalini in the McLaren trying to come back at him. Looks around the outside. Unfortunately for Jackie Alberts, late on the anchors, loses a bit of time, and Reginald Mutalini gets a pass on the inside, continues on the drive, and will continue blasting his way through. So Reginald Mutalini going to be happy about this one. Jackie Alberts now exiting the main straight. Will have Leon Swan coming onto the back of him. Through turn 1 it goes, and Jackie will continue on the drive. As our drivers starting to think a little bit more of what needs to be done. 19 minutes and 34 seconds continue on. We unfortunately have lost a few drivers. We're down to 23 left circulating here around Suzuka. 30 cars started, 29 saw the green, and we have dropped down to 23 cars all told. Various issues, mechanical failures, disconnects, all coming into play. Drivers, unfortunately, not able to see it down to the wire, will be losing out on crucial points. That's going to help him out in the championship. Johan Verveers in the Trail Bullets team of that Ferrari 296, now taking a look in his rearview mirrors, and will be starting to stress as he does have the Team Wolf chasing him down. Bego Krobler with Fleming Bauer of the Panacity team starting to make up a bit of time, and just there, coming through the corner, is Jason Farmer, who's been waiting, biding his time, waiting for the opportunity to make a move. Bego Krobler hoping for a solid defense over here. Fleming Bauer look towards the inside. He's waiting a little bit longer. Quite aggressive in Degner 1. Degner 2, a little bit later on the brakes. He was able to go through a little bit of a tank slapper, however, coming out of the corner. And Fleming Bauer is constantly trying everything he can to get the drive deep on the inside line. Couldn't get the momentum, and it is all round chasing. 18 minutes to go. We're looking to our weather radar, and possibility of rain may be coming down. This is going to be an opportunity for those that still have a pit stop in the bag to switch on to wet to continue on the drive. For those that are sitting in dry tires, they have completed their pit stops like Fleming Bauer, Jason Farmer, Duplessis, Lorero, Chris Collison, Ruin Hanekel, along with Viswoda, Kirk Bukes. They will be stressing at this moment. How far are they willing to go? Bego Krobler all over the back of Verveers. Looks to the inside line. Couldn't get the pass done. And now Verveers leading out the Pro-Am. Does he want to fight with the pros? Does he want to give up the position? Daniel van der Vente now into the pits. Will get himself sorted. Bego Krobler still on the hunt. Fleming Bauer and Jason Farmer has caught up to the train as well. So still huge amount of drive, as this is going to be a race of note. David Van Beek saying wet race would have been better. Well, yeah, at the moment, any race would have been great, and they have been racing. Whether it's dry, whether it's wet, we're still seeing some phenomenal racing out on circuit. Henry Mayer leading out the pack, however, is going and running 59.1 seconds ahead of likes of Johan Verveers. But if he can continue that drive, he's going to secure his position for his final pit stop. He has to go and make up a fair chunk of time to get it done and dusted, but can't change tires. The moment he changes tires, that's the moment he loses out on that first place, and it's crucial to not go and have that happen. Daniel van der Vente leaving pit lane now, gets overtaken by Sean Lorero of the Griffin Sim Racing team. Gotta say, the blue on the Mustang doesn't look bad at all. Something to consider for the Mustang lovers out there to switch things up. But it is Fleming Bauer all over Bego Krobler. Bego trying once again deep on the inside through the hairpin. Can't get the power down to catch up to Johan Verveers. Has Fleming Bauer immediately putting the pressure on him, and will continue on the drive. So much racing still happening on. Still so much time. 16 minutes left of this race of round 4, the Raceface.Pro Assetto Corsa Competizione GT3 Championship. And man, oh man, it is all on the line. And like we said earlier, winners of the season for Pro, Pro-Am, Gold and Silver. 4 divisions, all getting first, second and third place trophies. They'll also be put into the draw for that 16,000 Rand, all aluminum, T-slot aluminum sim frame brought by Simulator Cave. Absolutely stunning and worth 16,000 Rand. Honestly, rather jealous about it, and don't think I'm going to be doing too well to fight against some of the top runners to go and enter that as well. Fleming Bauer, however, continues on his drive behind Beggar Krobler. He's just not moving around. He's not onto the attack. He's waiting for his opportunity and waiting for Beggar Krobler to put the pressure on. Daniel van Venter, however, looks to continue the drive and will be chasing down Sean Herrera. He does look to hold the outside line through 130R. Doesn't want to upset the rear of this BMW. Continues on to chase his way through Sean Herrera into the braking zone a bit easier. Not too worried about it. Sean Herrera, the Griffin Sim Racing team, looks in his mirrors, sees that he's not getting attacked, and instead of focusing on solid defense, will continue to run the racing line on the way through. Daniel van Venter was getting a little bit antsy. He wanted to get past, but just wasn't able to get on power early enough to make it work. Fleming Bauer, Beggar Krobler, and Fafia still running close as they do get past one of our Mustangs, and that is Werner Buschhoff, who gets lapped by our front pack. He slips in right between Beggar Krobler and Fafia. So that's opened up the gap a little bit more. Fleming Bauer did not want to hang around. Tried looking on the inside of Beggar Krobler. Does cut back in. Jason Farmer will be the next one to try and get past our blue flag of Werner Buschhoff, who's just circulating at the moment, and that's all that you need to do to continue on the drive. Late breaks for the likes of Fleming Bauer. Jason Farmer caught behind, could not get his way through Spoon, loses out a bit of time, and will have to wait on the exit of Spoon. Benjamin Till going in, making up some time to the Kerry Buick. Stinger Racing versus the Racing Snails, and it is Benjamin Till still yet to do a pit stop, along with Hunty Myberg, as they are running out of the top 10, needing that final pit stop, waiting. Possibility of rain to come in. Maybe that might change the entire race and might switch things up. For many drivers, it is still a concern. First, second, and third, however, Henry Mayer, Jean Fierce, Beggar Krobler have not done their final pit stops, as we do see the Griffin Sim Racing team of Jared Petrus moving out of the way of the Pandacity team. And let the purple and black not deceive you on the two. It might look the same, but very, very different teams that are fighting it out. Fleming Bauer continues on his drive, 0.3 of a second. This is still our closest fight at the moment between the two, and I think Fleming Bauer is starting to realize he's losing time here. Jason Farmer, last lap time was 2 minute 2.2, where Fleming Bauer was a 2 minute 2.310. Beggar Krobler 2 minute 2.3 dead, and that unfortunately is going to change things up, because Fleming Bauer knows that he has to keep ahead of Jason Farmer. These two are racing to the end and have an opportunity to put themselves onto the podium, but they need to keep the pressure on. They need to keep moving forward. Harry Duplessis has got the likes of Quan Duplessis. Looks on the inside, getting it very unstable, as he does. Harry Duplessis just come across the nose of him, and he had to back out of it through the S's. He will be a little bit frustrated on that one, as the Lexus continues to defend the charge. As we jump on board the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo 2, gets a drive, takes Lapper out of Ding the 2, was able to save it, however, as he tried to put the hammer down on Duplessis. Looks possibly too deep on the inside, looking for the undercut, and Duplessis, solid defense, slowing it down on the apex, utilizing that low-end torque of the small block V8 of the Lexus to go and foul up, knocking the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo 2 off cab. Not able to get the rev range right, and unfortunately the V10 battled to bring the revs back up, and you can see Duplessis constantly keeping the pressure on. So it's Kerry Duplessis ahead of Quan Duplessis, and Quan still continues to put the pressure on. Was leading the race, did have the fastest lap time. This time, however, not working out in his favor. Bit of a change of position here, as this is Jan Verveers down past Fleming Bauer and Jason Farmer. It is the 48 down the order, and let's quickly try and take a look what happened as he was coming through into Casio corner, and just outbraked himself And that was that. Bego Krubler capitalized, and so did Fleming Bauer, as Johan Verveers off circuit loses the drive. Jason Farmer says thank you very much, done and dusted. And that is exactly what Fleming Bauer wanted to happen as he continued on the drive with Bego Krubler. Just for one of them to at least make a mistake, and for Verveers, that was a big loss. Jason Farmer, however, also gained a bit of an advantage, made up some time. He's onto the back of Fleming Bauer, trying to figure out where he can go through the running order. It's going to be a tough race for them to push that a little bit more. Fleming Bauer continues on the drive. Henry Mayer first into the pits now to try and get himself sorted. He is first to the top 5. Verveers, Mayer, and Krubler all needed to get in the pits. Bego Krubler will have to try and figure out his opportunity. Fleming Bauer switching up the focus, would have got radio contact with Henry Mayer saying, I'm in the pits, I'm boxing, final stop. And this leads on for Fleming Bauer, who's too far back to get that first place away from Henry Mayer. He is now looking at second, and he is under pressure from the Griffin Sim Racing team of Jason Farmer. Henry Mayer now out of the pits. Bego Krubler still needs to go in, and he's a linchpin here. Bego is running tank to tank. Something he's very familiar with is carrying that car till the very end and finalizing his pit stops right at the last. With the likes of Verveers leading out the Pro-Ams, Duplessis running in second. Loureiro has all to gain, but has to move up through the order quite quickly. He's lying in 8th place and 3rd in the Pro-Ams as Bego Krubler continues on the drive. Verveers now into the pits to serve his final pit stop and getting it out of the way. That leaves Duplessis, the likes of Harry Duplessis and Bego Krubler to do their final pit stops. They're the only drivers out on circuit with 8 minutes and 40 seconds to go that have to do their final stop. Fleming Bauer constantly looking at the outside of Bego Krubler, and Jason Farmer losing out a lot of time through the S's and lost out half a second on that last run. Here in the rear, a little bit out of shape. Maybe the tires starting to reach that top off, and now seeing second place fleeting at the moment as he continues on the drive. Harry Duplessis battling his way through, did have a bit of contact, a bit of an off-track excursion that is light. Brought in the likes of Quan Duplessis as he tries to look for the inside. Yet again has the nose chopped off by that Lexus, and Harry Duplessis continues on the drive. Quan Duplessis not having an easy time out there. The X-Pax Racing not backing down from the fight and will continue to put the pressure on that a little bit further. Looks on the inside yet again, couldn't get it done and dusted, and battles his way through. Diving up for the inside line, go around the outside, through the hairpin, looks for the cutback, and has he done it? Yes, he has. He shifted Harry Duplessis just off the apex. Harry just kept on the power that little bit longer, and Quan Duplessis not able to get it done and dusted. Will continue on the drive as Harry goes off into the dirt, loses that position, and a thank you for Quan Duplessis. Back up to our top 3, however, Fleming Bauer still puts pressure on Bego Krubler, waiting for the opportunity to work out. Bego Krubler, yet another lap under the race conditions, will not be into the pits and continues his drive on. Luke Haynes battling out with Reginald Mutaleni, who is now into the top 15, looking at 14th position. Racing Snails BMW, however, is going to be a difficult one, and the internal server error of Reginald Mutaleni, the Noob Nation himself, continues to keep pressure on the Racing Snails. That will go that little bit further, and you can see how quickly that McLaren got onto the brakes as he dived for the hairpin, but just didn't have enough to go and stop. And likes of Luke Haynes getting back on the apex. Daniel Fonafenta around the outside. Very ambitious move out of Casio corner on Sean Loureiro. Couldn't quite get it all tucked in and worked out in his favor. Will continue on the bit of momentum. We're into the last 6 minutes and 15 seconds of the race. Still lots to go on with these teams and still so much to gain. Whether it's going to be an advantage, whether it's going to work out in their favor, many are going to be thinking, what do they need to do to get it done and dusted? Like so, Harry Duplessis has got a lot to lose here. He's only 14 seconds up the road from Sean Loureiro, so it is a loss of position. Fleming Bauer is also going to be going and running and seeing Bago Krobler needing to get in the pits, waiting for his opportunity. That has left Henry Mayer 28 seconds away from second place. Henry Mayer has just walked away from this race after getting the opportunity to run ahead. He's taken the fast lap time of the race and continues on his drive. Bago Krobler heading to the 130R. Fleming Bauer now starting to feel the pressure as Jason Farmer continues to start dialing it in a little bit more. Lost our time through the S's. Is he going to make up some time through the 130R? Does, and hard onto the brakes into the Casio corner, and that Ferrari now in the mirrors of the McLaren of Fleming Bauer, and they will go yet another lap. 5 minutes to go. Bago Krobler is really pulling this till the last, and the rain comes down. The rain has come down in the last 5 minutes. How much will the heavens open up in the last 5 minutes? Because majority of the drivers have gone that little bit longer on slicks. This is a worse time, and for many of the drivers, they will be caught out. You're on worn out slicks, you're on the beautiful circuit of Suzuka. If it starts to come down harder in this time, we will see those lap times start to drop off. We will see who's brave, who's not, who's got the grip as they continue on. Benjamin Till, however, losing that grip as he loses out a run to Henry Platt, and that has taken him out of the running. Reginald Montaleni still keeps the pressure on Lucan Haynes. You can see the tail starting to drift out underneath him of the McLaren. The likes of Daniel Fonafenta keeping a bit of pressure on Sean Larrea. Both cars looking rather stable at the moment. This is turned into a nightmare scenario. Fleming Bauer's got Jason Farmer. Now, Jason Farmer is losing time in the wet. He's not comfortable, and that is starting to become more and more shown. Henry Mayer trying to keep it all together through 130R. Did lift quite a bit. He's trying to sell the car down and just get it to the end, knowing a win is in the bag here. Bago Krobler trying everything he can, and this is yellow flag. Lucan Haynes out of the final corner. Lost control of the vehicle. He managed to keep it slightly out of the wall, but will come across the line, losing out to Jackie Alberts, his team manager. Well, his teammate getting the pass on him. Through 130R, Fleming Bauer now feeling that Jason Farmer all over the back of him. Farmer needing to pull the trigger. The Stingers had a fight with one another. The Snails had a fight, but it is Griffin Sim Racing Team. Bago Krobler into the pits. 3 minutes to go. It is now a race, now or never, for Jason Farmer for that second place. Who has got the grip to continue on? Kerry Duplessis will be next to go into the box to try and get himself sorted in the Lexus. He will drop down the order. We're starting to see more and more mistakes rolling in. Henry Platt, Leon Swan, all slowing the cars down dramatically. There is a variety of cars here, and the Racing Snails, and that was Lucan Haynes around the outside of Jackie, and oh, no contact between the two. The teammates have contact. Jackie Alberts getting a little bit of a lap tap from Lucan Haynes, who is desperate to get on by, and the weather has played a negative effect, and both going wide. Oh no, contact again, and that is Jackie into the wall. Lucan has screwed Jackie, and now here comes Leon Swan. Henry Platt got on by, and they are staring at the back of Lucan, who is going and kicking himself. Vessel Woda getting caught out through 130R, gets himself brought back as Garrett Bukes loses it into the Casio corner. It's mad, it's going crazy. Kerry Duplessis coming out of the pits is just seeing the madness around him. Bucas and Voda trying to do everything they can. Mayer tries to keep it together. Fleming Bauer just holding on for dear life. So is Jason Farmer. This is going to be a mad race to the end as they make their way through Spoon. It is all or nothing. Who's got the power? Who's brave? Who's going to keep it alive? And the two teammates, the Racing Snails, taking each other out. That is going to be a very uncomfortable chat in the pits. Leon Swan falls off the circuit. Henry Platt trying to capitalize. Just couldn't get the power down. The Mustang splitting those rear wheels into the middle of nowhere. Sean Larrero fighting out Daniel Fonafenta. Benjamin Till also running out wide through 130R. It has gone insane. It has gone mad. Henry Platt's on the inside on contact with Henry Platt. and Leon Swan. They are taken off. Mozzarella dealing with Werner Buschhoff. And this is it. It's fallen apart, folks. If your nerves are shot, sorry, we're dealing with it all. Duplessis runs out wide as well. He's on slicks, trying to deal with the rain. 32 seconds to go. And it is just all who can keep it together. The spray is immense out there. Bago Krobler returns to the circuit. And through 130R, he lost a bit of time as well. It shows drivers are losing grip every which way. The Sting is racing. Kerr Bukes is now turned around. He's waiting to try and turn himself in the Mustang. Just not working out. He's got 5 seconds. And there is the rest of the team. It's slow going. And we've got to change. Fleming Bauer and Jason Farmer. A pass has been made. But it looks like not to the way that Jason Farmer and the likes of Bauer would have had. Side by side, they go into the S's, and I think there might have been a bit of rubbing and racing here. Understeer coming in, and there's a little bit of contact, not too much, just enough to move it offline as they continue their drive through. I mean, this is just chaos. This is madness. This is racing. This is Suzuka. This is round 4 of the championship. And we are seeing everything fall apart. Reginald Mutilini coming off at 130R. I think we should just have a camera there. Henry Mayer as well falls off a circuit in 130R. But he brings it back. And now into the Casio corner. Right into the last. It has all become chaos. It's all fallen apart. But Henry Mayer in the number 99, the Panacity, will be wiping the sweat off his brow. He will be happy as can be. And taking first place for round 4 and first place of the pros here at Raceface.Pro. Jason Farmer running in second place, continues on 0.7 of a second, getting a bit squirrely. Fleming Bauer trying to feed that power in a little bit more, late on the anchors to Casio corner. He sent it, he missed it, the brake markers are gone. Jason Farmer will hold second place ahead of Fleming Bauer. Fleming Bauer tried the last send and just couldn't make it stick. Jason Farmer takes second place. Fleming Bauer takes third. And what a race for them. And here coming around, round 1. This is through Spoon, and it is likes of Johan Verveers, and right behind him is Sean Lerero trying to go for it. It is a fight out for our Pro-Ams. Ren Heineke looking to stay in the fight here. It is going to be the Trail Bullets to keep it together ahead of the Griffin Sim Racing team. And likes of Verveers runs out a bit wide. Major tank slap. He saved it. Lerero goes off into the distance. He's able to bring it back. And Heineke will be the next to come through the 130R. But it is Verveers keeping it together and will be taking the checkered flag. First in the Pro-Ams, in the weight, goes to the Trail Bullets. Johan Verveers smiling all the way to the bank for that one. Sean Lerero taking second place as he comes across the line. And Ren Heineke will hold third of the Pro-Ams. Man, oh man, what a race. What a turn of events. And when it all went absolutely mental right at the last. You couldn't have written a better story for some GT3 racing here at Raceface.Pro. Wow, oh wow, folks. That was just a race and a half. And I don't know about you, but definitely amped. Let's run it back. Let's do it again. Because what a race that was between the likes of Jason Farmer and the likes of Fleming Bauer. Great racing between them. Great show of side-by-side battles. Ultimately, though, Farmer was able to get his nose in and gets that pass done and dusted. A little bit of rubbing and racing, but the conditions became not so nice to play with, and drivers had to deal with some extremely rough conditions. From thinking that the servers are out and the chance of the racing may be at a low, to going and being able to be on the grid and duking it out. I mean, this has been quite a race. Let's take a look at some of the highlights, however, of the race while we try and get some drivers in for a little bit of a chat, a little bit of an interview, and see what their thoughts was the entirety of the race because it just went absolutely all over the show. Wow, oh wow. Taking a look, however, this has really changed up the championship now. Qualified in the wet, raced in the dry for a little bit, went to wet, went to dry, went to wet yet again till the very end, and it was a fight out of note. But many drivers having to really claw their way to victory. That being said, however, we're going to be bringing in first place overall and first place of the pros. We will be chatting as well to our pros. So let's actually take a look with who we've got to play with here. And we have got our pro-ams. We're going to bring in first before we bring in our pros and have a chat to them. So let's bring in our pros to have a chat to us. The likes of Rin Heineke finishing in third place of Pro-Am. Rin Heineke, welcome to the commentary box. Third place of the Pro-Ams. How are you feeling after that one? Absolutely mental at the end.
Yo, this was one hectic race, especially those last few laps on slick tires in the wet. That was some fun.
Now,
just keeping it on track was, that was hard.
Take us through. I mean, this was a qualified in the wet, went to the dry. What was going through your mind during the course of this race? As it just seemed completely all over the show.
Yeah, because I was actually happy for the wet quali because I did quite well. I think I ended P5 in the wet quali, P5. So we did a lot of practice in the wet, and unfortunately I messed up my pit stops. I didn't take fuel on one of the stops, so I had to do a third stop, unfortunately, for this race. But so I did a bit of a comeback drive, so it's not too bad. But those last few laps, just keeping it on track was hectic.
Now coming into this race, first in the championship, but tied with Jared Bakum. You're scoring a good amount of points. Are you feeling positive heading to Barcelona for round 5 next week?
Yes, I quite do, because I love Barcelona, I love Suzuka. So yeah, unfortunately, Peter didn't finish the race, because he was the guy I was targeting, actually. I don't know what happened to him. But yeah, I'm feeling stoked going into next week's race.
That's it. Well, before I let you go to enjoy the celebrations, taking home the copper this evening here at Raceface.Pro for round 4 at Suzuka, anything you'd like to say to all the sponsors here at Raceface.Pro, to the incredible teams, drivers, to your team, and even to the race fans that braved the conditions with you?
Yeah, I think I'd first like to thank all the sponsors for doing this. Without them, they can't host this series. Then Bertus, Hansi for putting a lot of effort into this, making it work. And of course, all the fans. Without their support, it's going to be pointless doing this, actually. So thank you to everyone.
The Griffin Sim Racing Team / Team Sarko going and putting in a bit of fun. Well done, Rin Heineke. Go and enjoy the celebrations for your third place and stretching your lead in the championship.
Thank you, Stephen.
Well, that being said, great racing for Rin Heineke. Let's bring in the likes of Johan Verveers, our last of our Pro-Ams on the podium. Johan Verveers, welcome to the commentary box. First in Pro-Am. How are you feeling with that?
I feel like the last lap. I'm sweating completely. I'm wet. I'm sitting in my pub where I have to do my sim racing, and I'm soaking wet. I feel like the last lap, but yes, nee, it was lekker race. Flip it.
The conditions were changing. Your pit stop, however, you left it till last. Take us through, what was your thoughts and strategy to leave the pit stops a little bit longer?
Yeah, so I did a lot of practice this week, which I think helped. And what I saw, I went on slicks the whole race. I never went on wet. So, I just wanted to use the good weather. But yeah, I was lucky to be with the front guys. And I saw that lap times in the beginning was good. And then all of us dropped off. So I was wondering, I had a pit strategy to go to wet, but I didn't want to use it. So I just kept on going with the slicks, because I did really practice a bit with the slicks on the wet. So yeah, I think that was the thing that made it for me in the end, was keeping on the slicks. But yeah, it was tough. The first session, when we had the rain for that 15 minutes or whatever, I had to battle that through with slicks. So yeah, and then I just halfway I had to stop, and luckily I saw the weather looked good, so I just went with new slicks again. And yeah, I was very lucky at the end with the last lap. But again, I practiced corner one, and I knew that Mr. Larira was going to make trouble there. So yeah, and I took the opportunity.
Well, absolutely great stuff. Anything you want to say to all the sponsors for the Raceface.Pro and also to the drivers, the teams, your team, of course, going and supporting you, and most importantly, the race fans that had to go with umbrellas, without umbrellas, with rain jackets, and with all the excitement?
Yeah, thanks to all the sponsors and for you as well, Stephen, for all your efforts. And yeah, I had to leave my son's birthday early tonight to come racing. So I just want to, it's my youngest son, not the eldest one, Yuan, that raced last night. So my youngest son, Ivan, I want to just, hopefully they still having a party at the restaurant, but I just want to say to him again, happy birthday. And I told him I'll try and get a podium. I won't leave early for nothing. So this
Well,
one's for Ivan.
there
And
we
Henk,
go.
a train bullet. So yeah.
There we go. Getting a podium. And, well, since his birthday, let's do it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I think that's enough of it. But happy birthday, Evan.
Thanks, man.
Don't worry. Your dad got that podium and now owes you a bigger present.
Awesome. Thanks very much,
Great one.
Ivan.
Going for Fears, going
Thank
and doing
you.
a stellar effort. Wow, oh wow. Leaving a birthday of your son to get a podium. Talk about nearly getting yourself in trouble there. But that being said, let's bring in a couple of drivers that really had a tough race out there. Flaming Bauer taking third place of our pro division. Flaming Bauer, welcome to the commentary box. What a race, bud. That final 2 laps just went insane. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it was good, Stephen. It was, yeah, I don't think the tires lasted well after pushing so hard on the dries. And then when that little bit of rain came, it came in with a storm. But it was a fun race. I think it went well.
Now, we got to talk about your start to the race and midway. You actually got the fastest lap time in the race and held on for a good time. What was your plan going into it? Seeing the likes of Duplessis, Bago Hrobler, the likes of your own teammate, Henry Mayer, Jason Farmer, all being around you, and the game plan you had here at Suzuka.
Well, Stephen, I still had some gas in the tank to go a bit quicker. I was just held up a lot with the guys still having a pit stop in front of me. But either way, it's still for position, so it's probably fair in that sense. But yeah, I think when Henry got that jump in front and we started slowing down, he pulled away completely. Jason was on very good pace. I mean, his car looked so good in the wet, even with the dry tires compared to the McLaren there. But game plan was trying to get ahead and then trying to get some open air, especially with the pit stop strategy, the first one.
Now, we all know you are no stranger into door-to-door battles and really fighting it out. Taking the last 2 laps against the likes of Jason Farmer, what was that entire dice to you? What was running through your head? Because it just looked mental.
I was just holding on for dear life there, to be honest, Stephen. The car did nothing that I wanted it to. And I saw Jason as well. The car was sliding around. I just think he was a bit better in that situation in that certain time. But yeah, he was coming up close very quickly.
Well, absolutely brilliant. Before I let you go to enjoy the celebration and go and dry off after quite a serious race, anything you want to say to the sponsor here at Raceface.Pro, to the teams, the drivers, even to your team, the Pandassi team that came out shouting in the grandstands with all purple to support you, and most importantly, our race fans that were cheering on from the grandstands. I'm sure you could see them in the car.
Yeah, no, thanks, guys. Everyone watching, it's a great race. It's a great series. We really enjoy it. And to the sponsors, thank you for making it happen. Bertus, Steven, thank you very much. We appreciate all the commentary. It's always brilliant. I watch the races afterwards and listen to everything that goes on. And to the team, thank you, Pandassi. It's our first season there, and I think it's going really well. We're really enjoying it. And my teammate, Henry, congrats on another win. And yeah, hopefully we can keep it there.
I'm guessing that's going to be the last win for Henry Mayer.
I hope so.
It's going to be a Bauer head. Okay, just carrying that forward. All right. But Fleming Bauer taking that third place in the Pro Division. Well done. Congratulations and enjoy the celebration.
Thanks, Stephen.
Just absolutely phenomenal stuff to have a chat to him. Well, let's bring in our second place driver of the Griffin Sim Racing team. And well, the Griffin Sim Racing team are going to be happy. And one person that's going to be absolutely through the moon and turning a gamble, you got to say, and it is Jason, my boy, Jason Farmer. Welcome to the commentary box. How are you feeling after that race?
Fantastic.
I mean, take us through. It seemed a bit mental, up and down. You had a difficult race. Take us through the ideas here.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, it was kind of obviously dries. We saw that the rain was coming, so we just didn't realize like kind of how long it was going to be on for. And the whole team was actually just like kind of deciding at that moment whether to pit or not as the rain was coming down. All the guys did pit, I think, except for, well, all the guys from Griffin pitted. I decided, let me just stick it out. Let's see, like, for another couple laps, see what happens. And the pace was decent. So, yeah, as soon as it started drying up, I was just praying and thanking the Lord that it was drying because, yeah, the tires started warming up and we're back on track. So, yeah, it was a good race. And then, obviously, at the end with Bago holding up Bauer, I was able to kind of get back onto him because he had slightly more pace than me. So, yeah, and then as the rain came back, I thought there's my opportunity to take it. So, yeah, it's nice. And P2. So.
And let's talk about that final 5 minutes where the rain came down. It just looked like the track fell apart. The racing got wild. You and Fleming Bauer went door to door. Take us through that final 5 minutes.
Literally, all the grip lost immediately. The tires were buggered. So yeah, we were just kind of like, I was just trying to keep it clean and just stick with him as close as I could. And I saw an opportunity in the S's. So yeah, I decided just let's stick it. Here we go for it. And yeah, I mean, it was super sketchy at the end there. I'm glad we kept it on track. And yeah, coming down to Spoon on the final corner, and both of us just like completely ran off track. It was, yeah, no grip at all, but yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, absolutely fantastic to see the race to the end. It was really, really exciting. Had everyone out on their feet. But anything you want to say before I let you go to enjoy the celebration with your team, to the sponsors, to Raceface admin, to the drivers, the teams, to the Griffin Sim Racing team, and you've got to also say thank you to Antonia Gamble. I mean, she's always coming in and shouting that, you know, Jason, my boy, that is now a stuck meme. It can't go away. But also to the rest of the petrol heads out there in the virtual grandstands.
Yeah. Investors for putting everything up in the background, keeping the like kind of seasons running nicely and smoothly, and obviously to you, Steven, for keeping the streams power. Always nice to go back and rewatch it, so that's fantastic. The Griffin boys, well done, gents. Obviously with the Pro-Am, they did really well as well, a couple podium there. So yeah, that was good. And yeah, to everybody else that comes and joins on the streams, it really like makes everything worthwhile. So yeah, thank you for that. And then of course to my mom, thank you so much for coming and joining all the streams. Yeah, it's pretty proper. Thank you very much. Love you lots.
Absolutely fantastic. I gotta say, that is a fan that no matter where you are in the world is always first to jump out support. So give her a high five from us here at Raceface. Absolutely great. Jason Farmer taking second place of the Griffin Sim Racing team. That being said, our final driver of the evening, first overall, first in pro, your mayor, my mayor, Henry Mayer. Welcome to the commentary box. How are you feeling after that, bud?
That was a really exciting race, Stephen. We need more racing like that.
Now take us through looking at the weather conditions, because you're fighting it out for the top running order. You've got Fleming Bauer that's around you, Bago Krobler. You've got so many top drivers that are hunting you down in the championship. You're currently leading the championship, the big target on your back. and uncertain conditions.
Yeah, I think the conditions made it fun. Like really, I enjoyed that a lot. Like it put a new twist on the racing. Like when it's a dry race or it's just solid wet racing, it's just you know what to do. This was so unexpected. It was just something else for once.
Absolutely mental. Now, take us through game plan. Obviously, the race changed out with the likes of Quan Duplessis not able to get the second pit stop coming in correctly. You then had the back markers coming into play, very close calls as well, where you nearly got taken out. What was the game plan going during the course of the race? Because it just seemed like it was forever changing.
Yeah, I think you couldn't really have a plan for a race like this. I think it was just take it as it's coming and look at the weather and see maybe how long it's gonna last. But luckily, the rain didn't last that long that I felt it was necessary for wets. So we just risked it and hope we survived through it.
Absolutely. Now, great racing indeed. Anything you would like to say to all the sponsors here at Raceface.Pro, to the admin, the drivers, the teams, to your team, the Pandacity team, and most importantly, the absolute petrol heads that come in the droves to come and enjoy as we race across the world at all these famous circuits here, as I said, of course, Competizione.
Just a massive thanks to all the sponsors making it possible. Bertus, Hansi, you, Stephen, all the people behind the scenes, putting all the hard work and everyone watching, and then thanks to a great team at this point. The jokes is flying when everyone's racing.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, congratulations on the first place overall and first in the pro class, stretching out that lead for the championship. Henry Mayer of the Pandacity team taking the win this evening. Well, folks, it's been exciting, it's been wild, and we're looking forward to plenty more. Next week, however, we head over to Barcelona for round 5 of the Raceface.Pro GT3 Championship here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. But unfortunately, it does bring us to the end of tonight's broadcast. It has been an honor. It's been exciting, and we look forward to seeing you guys all joining us next week for plenty more racing. Tuesday night, we head over for iRacing Mazdas. That's going to be a great one. Then we head over on a Wednesday for LMU at Sebring. Thursday, we head over to Barcelona. Plenty to do, 3 different sims to keep you busy, keep you engaged. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like if you enjoyed all the racing action. We're on the road for 1,500 subscribers. We're trying to get to that, trying to push it here at Raceface.Pro. So much to come through, so many big ideas, so many grand plans to come through. Keep an eye on it, still lots to go on. But from myself, Stephen Koenig, here at the THT Productions and the Raceface admin, we'd like to say thank you very much. A happy Father's Day to all, and we will see you next time right here at Raceface.Pro. And like always, and say it with me, enjoy the Le Mans, have fun for 24 hours, but most importantly, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.